And welcome everybody, Prophecy in the Spotlight here. I'm your host, Brother Dan Goodwin. Sitting with me, Dr. Charles Hiltebittle. This is our radio program, our weekly radio program, which is also here on YouTube. So welcome to those that are watching via our YouTube channel at prophecyinthespotlight.com. And those of you listening on the radio in your car or in your home or wherever, welcome to you as well. This is kind of an important little update here that we're doing. We decided to bump some other things and get this on as quickly as we can. Doc, you brought me some stories here. I've been traveling. We just, yes. And I hadn't even heard this yet. But this is from October the 8th, which goes along with those monthly eighths.
Those eights we was talking about the other day.
With the death of the Queen on the 8th, and and then the other things that happened on the same day of the month. And of course, November 8th is the election.
Yes.
Who knows what's going to happen on that day? We might become a communist nation on that day. Who knows?
I think we about already are.
Yeah. And so October 8th, this story comes out, and you hand this to me. This is about pipelines, but not the one that got blown up.
It's interesting, yeah. One pipeline gets blown up, and another pipeline's getting ready to go on.
Yeah. And to supply Europe.
Yes.
And of course, we could spend the whole show talking about who blew up the Russian pipeline, but my goodness.
I think it's pretty sure. I think it's pretty obvious it wasn't the Russians, because they lost their clout over Europe. Yeah.
But everybody in power in our government says the opposite. They're blaming Russia.
Oh, well, they blame Russia for the high gas prices too.
The mainstream media says that we're crazy. It's of course it's Russia that did it.
Well, sure.
It's ridiculous.
Well, you know, we've all learned now that whatever the news media says, it's just the opposite.
Yeah.
You know, you can't believe them.
I don't think you can fix this country, Doc, without boarding up some doors. I hate to say it, but some news organizations have to have their doors boarded up.
They're not news organizations. They're propaganda stations.
Because this becomes treason, and this is destructive to the nation.
Well, they don't care.
Yeah.
And I read an article the other day that I think it's true, but a lot of what's supposed to be coming out as news outlets is not even news outlets. It's just fronts for one of the parties.
Okay, so today, the recording of this broadcast is October the 10th, 2022. Mm-hmm. The date on this article is actually 10 p.m. on October 8th. So that's almost the 9th, but it's still the 8th. Right. This is from the Times of Israel staff, October 20.
One is from the Times of Israel, and one's from another one there.
This one is...
I think I wrote it out there somewhere.
It says by TOI staff. What's TOI? Times of Israel.
Times of Israel.
Okay, same as this one.
I guess it is. Yes, it was. From two different avenues that I got it from. Jerusalem Post.
Jerusalem Post.
Yes, I knew there was another one.
So in other words, the Times of Israel quoted the Jerusalem Post.
Well, I think they were all quoting probably the same place.
Yeah. And so this is real. These articles are real.
Very real.
Which one of these should I skim first?
Well, that's the full article. This was just a couple of thoughts out of it. Yes.
All right. So this is about the testing of a gas pipeline.
Right.
That belongs to Israel.
Well, I can't remember the name, Kizik or whatever the name of the gas field is there.
Yeah.
Of course, there's been a dispute in the maritime territory. Does it belong to Lebanon or does it belong to Israel?
The Karish gas rig.
Yes. And so they've been negotiating back and forth. Lebanon wants to claim it all. And Israel is capitulating to Hezbollah. Even though Lebanon has their own leadership, Hezbollah actually runs Lebanon. And so they don't want to give up any of it. They want to control it all. The compromising leadership of Israel right now, they're liberals. They're willing to capitulate and give something away of Israel to Lebanon to avoid war. And but the gas line is now completed from there all the way through Cyprus into Greece. and they're testing it to make sure there's no problem.
What is under dispute? Is it the gas or is it the pipeline?
It's the gas itself, the field.
Okay, so the gas
underneath
under
the bottom
ocean.
Mediterranean.
Israel says that's theirs.
It's in their maritime territory. And Lebanon says it's in their maritime territory.
Well, who's got the pipe? Who's got the pump? Who's got it? Who's got the rig?
Israel's done it all. Well, there's a company. The name of the company is given there.
Kurish Gas.
No, the name of the company is in the first or second paragraph there. Starts with an E. I can't remember the name of it, but they're the ones that has invested in it. But Israel has done all of this, and so what they're doing is they're testing it. They're going to have a 30-day test, make sure there's no leaks and all those kind of things. And then they'll be ready to start pumping gas into Europe. Right now, Israel's selling gas to Europe, but it goes into Egypt. There it's liquefied at the refineries, and then it's transported into Europe as liquid gas. Okay. But this will be natural gas flowing through the pipeline. And but yes, it's amazing. I mean, just what days after the one's blown up, this one's getting ready to go online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so let me read this here because this is pretty startling here.
Yes, it is.
Defense Minister warns of resolute response to any attack as proposed maritime deal flounders. If things develop into a broader conflict, we will take Lebanon apart, they said. Yep. And then listen to this. This is a message from Iran's Ayatollah Khamenei, however you say it. He said in a statement that if Israel does not withdraw from southern Lebanon within 24 hours, which is past now, just about, as the date of this recording, Iran's superior force will join Hezbollah to defeat the Zionist, which is Israel.
Yep. They're trying to force Israel to relinquish and go along with the demands of Lebanon. That's what that's at. But it tells you that's saber rattling. But Hezbollah does run that place.
Now what I just read was dated 7 p.m. October 9th. So a day later.
Yes.
So there's something going on that could really turn into something.
It really could, Dan. I know not everybody agrees that Psalms 83 is a war that has never happened. I personally think that it probably is. But in the 83rd Psalm, it talks about all of the nations that are federated together, that are bordering Israel. This could lead to that.
Now, here's something else that I think we ought to not forget. Russia is being pushed against the wall. They're trying to cut them off from Europe. I mean, that's what's happening.
Well, today, that started yesterday, and today, the 44 European nations, Macron of France has called all of the European nations together, 30, and the other he's got 44 European nations right now at Prague for a meeting of trying to unify Europe right now. That's what's taking place right now. What did they do? They isolated, they included everybody, and kicked Russia out of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like you say, Russia's being pushed out of this thing in every direction.
And of course, you and I, we keep going back to the prophecy that was given several hundred years before Christ, the prophecy of Ezekiel, chapter 38,
2,700 plus years ago.
Yeah, and 400 years before Christ, or whatever it was there, something like that. That prophecy was given. Basically, Ezekiel is right at the captivity, so it's 600 years before Christ.
Yeah, about 600.
When Ezekiel's given this prophecy about what we believe is Russia, the bear from the north.
It's pretty obvious it is.
Yeah,
yes.
Coming down along with some other nations to the Golan, to the mountains of the north,
Golan Heights,
which we know is the Golan Heights. And recently, several months ago, Putin made the statement just out of the blue.
Out of the blue.
The Golan Heights belongs to Syria.
Yes.
Well, Russia's kind of got its...
And America had said the Golan Heights belong to Israel.
Right. And, of course, Trump's gone.
Yep.
So Putin stands up, and our guy was probably taking a nap and sleeping, or maybe they haven't given him his shot yet.
Might have been falling off his bicycle.
Yeah.
They're going to have to get him a tricycle.
So, you know, when there's a vacuum, somebody comes in and fills that.
Oh, yes.
And Mr. Putin is that guy.
He's filled it. Yes, he has.
And he's strutting out there. He's got aircraft carriers. He's got planes. And they're in Syria.
Oh, he's got everything he needs in Syria.
He could be at the Golan Heights anytime he wants to be.
Yeah.
And
he's waiting. All he needs to do is gather the troops that are mentioned from the nations in Ezekiel 38, but it wouldn't take long to get all those troops from those Islamic countries.
Yeah.
They're ready to come anytime.
Well, folks, if you're listening in today, we're talking about the very possibility of a soon attack of Russia upon Israel on the Golan Heights. Everybody's got their eyes on Ukraine. The whole world's falling apart, but nobody's
watching the Middle East right now.
And nobody realizes where this is probably all headed.
I scoured the major news this morning and never found any of these.
Yeah. Yeah, and
of course you're going to find it out of Israel, but yeah.
And we'll get this on YouTube as soon as we can here. I realize on radio you're a week behind, but on YouTube, when you listen on the radio, this will already be on YouTube. You can go watch this. And who knows what's coming in the next few days.
I really, Dan, I do see, I've been saying for a long time that I do believe that Psalms 83 is a battle. It certainly never happened in history.
And that's about Damascus, right?
Well, no. Psalms 83 is about an inner ring. He says in verse 4, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together, and with one consent they are confederate against thee. And then he goes on to name, and those nations, I have a message on it on my website, but anyway, those names, when you put them over today's geography, they are every nation that borders Israel.
So this isn't the Damascus thing.
No,
that's a different one.
That's Isaiah 17.
That's right, Isaiah 17.
But yeah, no, this is I could see where this would happen. This would weaken Israel because of all the toll that it's going to take. Yeah. And it would leave the total vacuum for Russia and Turkey and Iran.
This could be the prerequisite to Russia coming down.
I think it's going to happen before that, and that'll be the thing that'll get all the Islamic nations that are in outer ring ready to come and take it back. Boy, Israel's done this. Boy, we're going to take it back. And of course, we know, I do believe that one of the hooks in the jaw is that pipeline. I really do.
Yeah.
Because they've lost that. And it's going to take a while for them to ever reestablish that.
And you know, oil and petroleum is a big deal even in the end time, because you read in Revelation.
Even though everybody wants to go green.
Because he talks about Revelation 6 in the 4 horsemen, he says, touch not the oil or the wine, or something like that. Mm-hmm. It just seems like even in the end time, these things are important.
Oh, it's very important, because the entire world is petrol, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
You know, we've always referred to they all referred to the American dollar as a petrodollar. Yeah.
All right. Well, Doc, we're about out of time here. Folks, I hope you're ready to meet Jesus, because he might be coming any day now. So be ready. Make sure you're born again. Make sure you've trusted Christ as your Savior. And contact us if you need any help with that. If you're not sure how to be saved, if you're not sure how to become a child of God, we'd be glad to help you with that. And exciting days, and so be ready, be vigilant. But until next time, keep your eyes on them skies.